Adventure means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Depending where you are in the world, it can also look a lot different. Here we are in Iceland, going far off the beaten path, deep into the wilderness, into the unknown. To me, that is exactly the definition of adventure. Welcome back, everyone. Today we are exploring the Southern Highlands of Iceland. So this is something I've been looking forward to for a very long time. Some of the most famous F-roads, like the 210, the 208, they're here in the Southern Highlands. But more than that, I hooked up with a local guy who drives a Jeep on 40s. And in the Southern Highlands here, there are the F-roads and they're really cool and I'm looking forward to them. But there are also a whole bunch of tracks that link them together, that go further off the beaten path, that go further into the wilderness. And these are perfectly legal to drive on. I'm not driving off-road here, I'm just driving on much less commonly known tracks. So the Southern Highlands, I'm expecting this to be utterly incredible. Come with us as we get our minds blown time and time again here in Iceland. Let's go for it. We're starting this overland adventure in the lava field leftovers of an enormous glacier-capped volcano. Everywhere we're driving is this amazing black volcanic ash and extremely sharp lava rocks. But of course, it's all covered in this mystical green moss that just screams otherworldly. It feels like we're driving in an alien landscape and that that's some sort of biohazard or dangerous moss that we need to avoid. Does not feel like planet Earth. Quick stop here to air down the tyres, and I can see a glacier-capped volcano in the background, which we're going to go and explore today, that region. So I'm expecting some lava rock, a bunch of river crossings, some steep climbs, and who even knows what else. So air down the Yokohama AT4s, let's get at it, see what we can find out there. People often ask me what app I use for navigation or how I get information about trails. And to be perfectly honest, I don't use one. I feel like knowing what's ahead or reading too many reviews takes away from the mystery. It takes away from the intrigue and that sense of not knowing what I'm going to find. Can I even make it through? I don't know. That's the whole point, is to go there and find out, be surprised and be excited as I turn each corner and crest each mountain. That brings me back to my days on the Pan American Highway when I didn't even have a GPS and I just set out to try and get places that sounded interesting. That's the goal for me. We just stopped for a snack and to give Aurora a break from driving so much. And so incredible here. I feel like every 5 minutes the light changes, whether the clouds blow through, whether you get a bit of blue sky, and suddenly the mountains, they just glow in this different way. You can actually see some weather coming in over there, and there is quite a bit of fresh snow on the mountains. The forecast is to go below freezing in the next few nights up here in the mountains. And we're pretty high right now too, at 800 meters. But just kind of like the presence that these mountains have, and that it's kind of all like lava affected. Like there's huge big lava flows down there below that mountain. It just doesn't seem real. We still, every single day, Katie and I say to each other, I don't even know if this is real. I don't even know where we are right now. And it's funny, it's like the polar opposite of our Australia expedition. When we were in the Simpson Desert driving over all the sand dunes endlessly, and we felt like that wasn't real, or we were in the ocean or something. And now we've just somehow done the exact opposite with glaciers and snow-capped mountains. This place actually is blowing my mind every single day. I can't imagine where else I'd rather be. Without a doubt, Iceland has the most stunning landscapes I've ever seen in my life, and it never fails to disappoint. Once again, we crest a mountain, round a bend, and I am blown away by what we've found. Check it out, we've just found a great spot for lunch because there is a bunch of steam coming out of the ground. It's still snowing lightly, and I did just notice there's some ice accumulating on the Jeep. Check this out, it smells strongly of sulfur. So we are just out in the middle of nowhere right now, and there is steam, hot water and sulfur just coming out of the ground. If ever there was a dream destination for me, we've got remoteness, we've got four-wheel driving, we've got mountains, snow, hot springs. I'm in paradise. This is as good as it gets. I see more steam right there. And I do have to be careful here. You're not supposed to get in these kinds of ones because you have no idea how hot they are. And I've read the temperatures can fluctuate really rapidly. So even if you get in and it's not so hot, it can just instantly go too hot and basically cook you alive. So I'm gonna try not to get cooked alive. Maybe we'll cook some hot dogs for lunch though. About time I jumped inside, I think, get out of the snow. Of course, I don't let the snow deter me, and I spend a while walking around the whole site, checking out all the different steam vents, bubbling water, colours, and mystery and intrigue. There actually isn't that much hot water flowing anywhere, and I seriously doubt you would be able to actually get in and soak in any of this, but nonetheless, it is really beautiful and otherworldly to just walk around and look and listen. The steam is hissing and the sulfur smell comes across in waves. It's times like this I really feel like the earth is alive under my feet, and the knowledge that this has been here for millions of years and is going to be here for millions of years after I've gone is somehow comforting. I really love finding places like this. Reluctantly, we move on and we venture deeper into the mountains and further into the unknown. I really don't know what's coming next or where this track leads. I do have it on my GPS and I can see some of the junctions, but in terms of how deep are the river crossings or how steep are the climbs, I really don't know. The sign at the start of this track called it Super Jeeps Only, and this is the highest rating that Iceland will give a track. This means that rental cars are not allowed, regular Jeeps, regular four-wheel drives should not attempt these tracks. Really, these are for locals only, and often they'll be on about 40-inch tyres or bigger. Of course snorkels, of course they'll be in a convoy. And what I've been told by my local friend is that most of this comes down to how severe are the river crossings, which all comes down to time of year, time of day, and the weather in the particular week that you happen to attempt them. We could get to a river crossing here that is literally over the roof of the Jeep. He has seen it himself at various times, or when we get there, it could only be a foot deep. It really does change that much, and it can change that much in a matter of days, sometimes even hours. So with any trip like this, it's about setting expectations, and it's about knowing that the whole point is an adventure into the beautiful wilderness, not necessarily to get to any set destination. As we arrive at one of the first river crossings, I take a good look with the drone, and it's pretty clear that it's not deep and this won't be a problem. There are a lot of warning signs here, and based on how wide this river is, I expect this is one of the ones that can be really deep when it is. After a short little climb, we get to a high vantage point where I always like to jump out and have a good look at the trail ahead, trying to understand what we're getting ourselves into. This is starting to feel really remote. We haven't seen a car all day. There are no buildings back here. There is nobody around. And I start to get the feel for it. We're occasionally climbing up and over a mountain and then back down into a valley where inevitably we'll have a river crossing. So I'm looking ahead here at the big river and trying to anticipate what that crossing will be like when we get there. So check out where we are. I would suggest this is about the most remote we've ever been in Iceland. Absolutely breathtaking mountains and a nice river to cross. It doesn't look very deep, I'm not too worried about it. There's some slightly bigger rocks in there. I think slower is going to be the go here. And it's raining a little bit, but I'm going to put the drone up and see how that goes. We're getting a little wild now. We're pretty far out and there's no one else around. So making smart decisions is the right way to go here. So just slow and steady, I think. Don't want to break anything. No danger of it being too deep. Just danger of hitting some of those rocks. See how we go. People often ask how I'm able to fly the drone and drive at the same time. And it's about time that I let you in on a little secret. I'm actually not driving at all. And a lot of this technical stuff, I haven't been driving. Katie actually is the stunt driver these days. Ever since Australia, we've fallen into the routine where I fly the drone trying to get the shots and the photos that I need, and Katie takes on the technical driving. With a combination of me looking through the windscreen and at the drone screen, I'm able to give her a little bit of advice, and her skills have improved rapidly. Katie is now a very accomplished four-wheel driver, and she has no problem at all getting the Jeep through this crossing. Just like we planned, slow and steady, and we have no problem. The bottom is obviously rocky, so there's plenty of traction, so the only concern here is braking something on a big rock. There is no need for speed at a time like this, so it's just about going slow and steady, and of course we made it through without an issue. So this is all Katie's driving. She is doing a lot more of the technical stuff than I am actually in Iceland. It's only when it gets really off camber that she decides to let me jump in the driver's seat. While the river crossings provide some excitement in terms of four-wheel driving, the wide open valleys are where the stunning views really come into their own. It is honestly difficult to believe that we are driving through such stunning landscapes. Soon after the massive valley, we have a really steep climb, and I have the Jeep in low range here, crawling about as slow as it'll go. In low range first, with the rear diff lock and the front sway bar disconnected, we don't have any problem with traction, although I do feel like I'm close to the edge thanks to all the rain and the kind of slippery gravel. We scramble our way to the top, which of course rewards us with yet another stunning view out over the enormous valleys stretching into the distance. It's times like this we try our best to slow down and just take in the views that are surrounding us. Here's how it looked through the front windscreen. You can see when the sun comes out, it just makes everything glow as if we're in some sort of pastel painting. These landscapes are so unique and so stunning, we have to constantly point at stuff and say, oh my God, look at that. I've been a lot of places around the world now, and I feel confident in saying there is nowhere else on planet Earth that looks like this, and nowhere else you can get remote and wild like this and be all alone. As we start dropping elevation, I'm expecting another river crossing, but I am not at all prepared for what we actually find. Instead of simply crossing the river, we drive right down into a tight little canyon where we have to cross and then recross the creek or the river multiple times over the span of 10 or 15 minutes. Again, this is one of the most stunning places I've ever explored in my whole life. It feels like the day is just an endless highlight reel, and this is still just day one of our adventure. It's hard to believe we've just stumbled across this beautiful little canyon that otherwise we had no idea existed. Nobody told us about it, it isn't on any map, and I've still never seen photos of other people who've explored this canyon. We are immensely thankful that we turned down a Super Jeeps only track. Of course, it's far from over, and we continue through the stunning landscapes and changing weather as time pushes on and we get later and later into the afternoon. So we've popped out off the four-wheel drive track and we're on the F261 right now, and literally every corner we turn around, Katie and I just say, wow, Iceland is insane. We are driving past the most unique, insane mountain I've ever seen in my life. In the distance, I see a glacier. Right next to us is one of the biggest canyons I've ever seen with a massive river. And the weather just kind of blows in and out. At times it's really sunny and everything glows in the light. And then it gets really dark and ominous and overcast. This place is utterly mind-blowing. Katie and I just said we could have spent 2 weeks on this road alone. And like every single hour when the weather changes, you just get a completely different view and a completely different perspective. Soon enough, we find ourselves on a narrow, rocky road following an enormous glacier run-out river. This is one of the most notorious rivers in all of Iceland, and more than a few people have been killed and washed away trying to drive across it. The sun's going down, it's getting late in the day, and thankfully we don't have to tangle with the river today. That's a problem for tomorrow. So that has been a very big day on the road. Katie and I just said to each other, I think that's the most beautiful day we've had in Iceland so far. And just down the road, there's actually a hostel. And we just stopped and asked if we could camp there. And the lady said, oh, we're kind of closing for the season. She's like, but we own all this property. Just go camp. We were rounding up sheep today. Just go camp back there. It's fine. Like, we don't care. So we're just going to camp here for the night on their property, which is pretty sweet. And they're doing the annual sheep roundup, which is a big deal here in Iceland. We did get an invite previously, but we kind of messed it up. So in the morning, we might go over there and see if we can just hang around and see what the sheep roundup looks like. They're pulling them down from the mountains because winter's coming so fast. So yeah, let's get the roof up. Let's cook some dinner and get warm and cozy inside. I think it'll be a night for the diesel heater. So I'm on dinner duty tonight, and everything in here is working out unbelievably well. It's so nice that we're inside, even though it's, you know, nearly snowing outside. And so this is the setup for tonight. I'm doing tacos. Believe it or not, Iceland sells taco kits, just like our friendly old El Paso. We love them. Katie and I can't get enough of them from, you know, when we were kids growing up. So yeah, browning some meat, cutting up a whole bunch of ingredients for the tacos. And you might notice something I've got going there is our little fan pointed at the meat that's cooking and then out the open window. And this is kind of an experiment I've been working on to try and move out that humid air, that cooking smell, all of that kind of steam that's coming off whatever you're cooking. In a minute, Aurora, in a minute. Sometimes I cook with the lid on exclusively. This is kind of an experiment. It works pretty well to try and push all of that moisture out so that we don't get too much condensation in here. But this is the dinner setup, and I have to say, it is... Aurora wants to say. It's nice to be inside instead of out there in the cold weather. So we're going to tuck into some tacos and then probably get an early night. Tomorrow, we have to continue the adventure. It's actually Katie's birthday tomorrow, so have to stay in the good books, not do too much four-wheel driving, but get somewhere unbelievably beautiful. We can almost see it from here. There's just like 30 river crossings between now and then. Don't tell Katie that. Our campsite turned out to be better even than I realised at night and again in the morning. We're on the move early the next morning, and it is a stunning blue sky day. We have definitely lucked into this one for Katie's birthday. We have snow-capped mountains, glacier right above us, and this volcano right behind me, it's the one that erupted in 2010 and shut down global airports. There was so much ash and stuff in the air, so hopefully it doesn't erupt while we're out here. But this road is one that's a little bit famous. If I can show you, tragic accidents have happened on this road crossing this. It's only for full-size 4x4 Jeeps. And then hopefully this doesn't happen to us. So be careful. Larger 4x4 Jeeps or big buses, no cars. Do you think we qualify? I don't know, let's find out. We're aiming to get to a place called Porsmark, kind of at the bottom of the glacier in front of us. And yes, it's named after the Thor that you're thinking of. And so to get there, we have to tangle with this river called the Crosser. And this is one of the most notorious rivers because it fluctuates so much thanks to being purely glacier melt. People really have died trying to drive across this thing. So while many of these crossings are quite easy, there are a couple towards the end that are no joke and I'm taking very seriously. Early on, we tangle with a few small crossings, and these are actually just side streams that are flowing into the Crosser. This is not the main river at all. But even still, these will turn around a lot of regular vehicles, and actually it's forbidden for rentals to come down here, which basically means not many people get down here, which is great, and it's exactly the kind of place we want to be exploring. A little further down the valley, we do start tangling with some of the smaller braided sections of the Crosser. And this one here gives me pause, and I think and I reevaluate and I choose a different line. It's not overly deep, but it is flowing quite fast, and so I do want to be careful. We have Aurora in the car. This is a little bit serious. And then further down again, we have the option to cross the Crosser for real, but if we did, we just get to a visitor's centre and then you basically just turn around and drive back again. There's actually no reason to go across other than the old story of, so I said that I did. And after looking at it for a long time, I feel pretty confident I could do it. But is it really worth the risk? If the water's a bit higher than I think or flowing a bit faster than I think, this could be a real problem. Not worth it. Let's just get to the beautiful stuff. So we've just pulled into camping here. This place is called Porsmark, and there is a massive glacier directly above our heads. We're kind of on that big river that we were crossing earlier a few times. And then in the distance over there, that might be the most stunning glacier I have ever seen in my life. Iceland just delivering the goods time and time again. We're about to go for a walk, get some elevation, take the little monster out, get her some sunshine, and let's see how much the view improves when we get up higher. Haven't seen too many glowing red sunsets here in Iceland yet, but it's turning it on tonight. So the clouds have gone pink and it's making the glacier in the other direction glow as well. It's been a huge day. We were hiking all up and around the mountains. It is clearing again as well. We just finished dinner, pasta, because that's on our weekly rotation. And with any luck, the Northern Lights will be out again tonight. I'm gonna have to set the alarm, get up again at 1 AM and see how I go. So close of another day out here in the Southern Highlands. Right now too, the very vast majority of Iceland is under a severe storm warning. They're expecting quite a bit of snow, sleet and hail, very much in the north of the country and in the central highlands as well. We're technically right on the edge of it here in the Southern Highlands, so we'll see what happens tonight, tomorrow morning, and then whether that impacts our plans for the next couple of weeks. As someone said to me yesterday, winter is coming, and they weren't even being sarcastic. we decide to stay a couple of nights at Porsmark, hiking and exploring to our heart's content. Getting up high on the mountains gives us stunning views over the landscape, and I don't even bring my cameras. I'm having such a good time, just living in the moment and enjoying the adventure. Once again, pushing into the unknown has been an extraordinary adventure, one that we're going to remember for a very long time. Happy birthday, Katie. I hope this one lived up to expectations. At the end of it all, we stopped at one of the most famous waterfalls in Iceland to air up the tyres and had quite the shock at the sheer number of people. I'm ready to go back into the wilderness already. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Next time on The Road Chose Me, we venture into the heart of the Southern Highlands, into what is easily the most beautiful place I have ever been in my life. This is absolutely epic. You do not want to miss out. Make sure you're subscribed, and we'll see you soon.